Hi, everyone. Frank Sinclair and
Lisa's in it.
we are the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa on Motivation Monday. We're so glad that you would come and be a part of our show today, where we just really have a great time, don't we?
We do. We live for Mondays.
She lived for Monday.
I do.
Yeah.
When we decided to do this show, we're like, let's do it on a Monday.
That's right.
Right?
What better way to start out a Monday
Exactly.
than having great humans in studio with us talking about the great things that they're doing in community. I'm Frank Sinclair. As I said again, this is Lisa Senna. We are a dynamic team of business leadership experts and coaches who offer keynotes, emceeing, and facilitating interpersonal communications and leadership development to small to mid-sized businesses. We're based here in Colorado Springs, and our services are available both in the USA and international. So welcome to the Be Encouraged Show, where we provide a platform for entrepreneurs and community-focused individuals to expand their reach and create a positive impact in the Colorado Springs community and beyond.
Awesome. And of course, we got to spotlight our sponsors.
Oh!
Today's episode is brought to you by our platinum sponsor, Mr. Joshua Aguirre. He is in the house today with his company, Krystal. They offer pay what you can consultations to underprivileged entrepreneurs in Colorado Springs and teach people how to leverage ChatGPT for their business. So visit Krystal.com to learn more. And if you want to get more leads out there for your business, we do, right? Exactly. Who
Anybody
doesn't?
saying no?
Right, Moises?
Okay, all right. If you say no, get up and leave right now because
So be sure to visit us at beencouraged.net to become a sponsor and get your business name out there to our growing audience. Our platinum sponsor has seen an aggressive 900% growth in their business in just 7 months. So please like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn and join us on your journey to extend hope and encouragement and help people realize their potential through networking, collaboration, and community involvement.
Man, what a trip today because we have 4 dudes.
We do.
You're the only girl here,
Usually,
right? Normally,
this
I'm
is
not
fantastic.
one, right? Yeah, you guys jam her up today, okay? That can't right? So
I don't know Tom too well though. He might.
He might be able to. Yeah, but we're just, without these folk, we wouldn't have the show. So we want to introduce the people that we have on the show today. I'm going to introduce Dylan Newman because he's my bud. He and I, of course, baby. I'm talking about.
And a veteran member.
Yes. He is the visionary CEO of Dark Wars, pioneering nationwide. It is a pioneering nationwide franchise model. Also, founder of Convo.AI, empowering small business with AI CX support, whatever that means. We'll get to that. With 20 plus years in special ops in the Air Force, excelling in dynamic leadership, business development, and profitability optimization. Woo.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Profitability.
Sounds fancy.
Did you use the AI to write that?
Probably.
I should.
Yeah. So you reword this again.
Right.
Make it for a 3rd grader.
Right, and Moises Taylor is to his left. Moises is the owner and operator of Tailor Maid Carpet Cleaning. They've been in business for 4 years in June. Congratulations. Yeah, that's my anniversary as well. Yeah, in June. And he started the business with a $200 vacuum. And now 2 work vans and a team of 3.
That are all paid for, by the way.
Yeah, they're paid off.
And they're paid off. Yeah, bam.
Yes. Killing it.
Yeah, you got kids, you didn't even blow it up. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm going, where you been, brother?
I don't know, just discipline these kids.
Anyway,
His hands are sore.
his hands are sore. He's a Colorado native with 4 kids and his beautiful wife, Krystal. When he's not working, he's cleaning his own house, swimming, running, cooking, playing games with the kids, and being a husband to his wife. Not necessarily in that order.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to introduce the other 2 folks?
Yes, so to my right here, I have got Tom Marin. He is the creative director and founder of Suspension Media, a full-service video production company based in Denver that bridges the gap between storytelling and story making.
Oh.
So, in other words, creative and production is his game. So Tom offers a wide variety of services, including videography, photography, animation, visual effects, drone piloting, I love that, and production management. Every business has a story that deserves to be told, and Suspension Media can bring those stories to life while making the process both enjoyable and easy. Anything is possible when you suspend a little disbelief.
Just stole that from Hillary, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he is fresh from New York, so welcome to
Thank you
Colorado.
so much.
Wise decision.
Don't
Very
hold
happy.
that against us.
Yeah, don't hold it against us. And then, of course, yeah, exactly. I have to his right, Mr. Victor Bento Jr., specializing in transforming digital marketing for home service businesses. His AI-driven CRM and $5 ad strategy drastically cut lead response times to under 5 minutes. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Boosting connection rates by 100 times. This not only enhances lead quality, but also triples conversion rates, as seen with our clients like Scott, who sold 18 homes in just 1 quarter. If you're looking to capitalize on every lead and dominate your market, reach out and chat to Victor about how his proven solutions can dramatically increase your sales and efficiency. Bam. Nice job.
Sweet. That was perfect. That was better than I could say.
Yeah, that's why we do this.
I need to hire Lisa just start doing that.
She just be your voiceover,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Why are you giving my phone to him?
Oh, that's your. I'm sorry. You've been starting to hand me phones at the beginning of the show.
There's some cards on
Man, some
Yeah.
stinking phone.
Oh, there's cards. Yeah, I forgot. You got a funny build phone there.
Yes, right. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being with us this
Yes.
morning. We start out with our panel host, Mr. Dylan Newman. Dylan, people love story, right? So could you share a little bit about who makes up this incredible human we got, Dylan Newman?
I can try.
Right.
So yeah, I spent 20 plus years in the military, in the Air Force, and then when I got out, I was kind of like everybody else. Like, what am I going to do when I grow up? I knew I didn't.
But wait a minute, I gotta stop you, dude.
Yeah.
Because you don't brag enough. Don't make me brag on you, all right? All right, tell them how your journey through the Air Force.
So I grew up little beach town, Southern California, and then started getting recruited for football, and I used all my official visits, and then the Air Force Academy just came out of left field because my coach was a huge mentor for me. He's like, I think you'd be good at the Air Force Academy. I'm like, I have no idea. I mean, I didn't know anything about it. And then the coaches got a hold of me, and the coach said, hey, I'm going to come by your house if you'll think about coming to the Air Force Academy. I'm like, yeah, sure. He came by, and back then it was just pamphlets and brochures and stuff, none of the internet stuff. And literally based off that, I was like, I'm gonna go to the Air Force Academy because I want to fly and ski.
Nice. Yeah.
That was my rationale. And then so I went to the academy, played football there, and then graduated. And then, like Frank said, I went the special operations route. Did that for 20 years, and then once there was a time period of about 7-8 years that I was deployed 250 days a year.
Were you married during that time?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So my wife Deborah, she was active duty as well,
Yes.
and I think that's the reason that it actually worked out,
She understood.
because she had her own life.
Yeah.
Not that we didn't want to be with each other.
Right,
just,
right.
I mean, when I was gone, and she wasn't just sitting there twiddling her thumbs, right?
Right.
So, she had her own thing, and then after, so I got hurt roughly 2011 or 12, something like that, to where I became a staff guy. I got shipped back, got surgery, and I was probably the only staff guy in the building that loved going to work because it was 9 to 5. I didn't have to go anywhere, and I got to go like every day. I walked to a quarter mile to my son's daycare center and ate lunch with him every day.
Oh.
So I was like, well, because I mean, his first 2 years of being alive, I was gone 18 months of it. Most of it. I mean, probably give or take a couple days. So here I am. Everyone's like, "Why are you so happy in a staff job?" I'm like, "I love it. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to kill me. I get to eat lunch with my kids."
Exactly.
But on the other side, my wife's like, "Man, dude, don't you have to go somewhere?" Like, we were trying to figure out if we actually liked each other at that point. So anyways, when I got out, I knew I did not want to do be an operator anymore. It was funny. I was offered kind of a contracting job. So you go out, you're gone 2 months, you're home 2 months. So you basically work 6 months a year, get paid a lot of money. And I was like, no way, don't want to do it. And then I was telling my wife about that. And she's like, dude, when you get out, you can't be gone this way. And I told her how much they pay me per day.
She said bye.
She was like, maybe we can work that.
Yes.
And I'm like, whoa.
Let's figure it out.
Because it was like $2,500 a day you get paid.
Oh.
Now, granted, you earn that. They don't just pay you for nothing.
Right.
But, then I was like, all right, what do I want to do when I grow up? And so I got a job as a race director for Spartan Race, which is the largest obstacle course racing company in the world.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So that was really cool, but that was a lot of travel. So I was gone a lot, and that's not what I wanted to do. And then I was like, okay, my wife was like, you need to get a big boy job, like a normal 9 to 5 job, stop trying to be a kid all your life. I'm like, all right. So I got a desk job up in Denver. It was an amazing job, well-paid, program manager kind of job. And at that point, I took my son there used to be a store called Dark Wars with a Z.
Yeah.
Went there and I'm like, man, what a great concept. Like, everybody loves Nerf. It's a great way to interact with your family versus you go to a trampoline park and most parents are sitting to the side letting their kids play because you don't want to like snap your leg, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was like, hey, I want to start my own business. And then 3 months into thinking about that Dark Wars shut down, I went in, found a way to get a hold of the landlord, and here we are. I convinced him that I said, hey, I want to reopen this store as a Dark Wars with an S. And the guy's like, I don't think I want to have another Dark Wars in there because basically he was owed a lot of money. The previous ownership just didn't do the right things.
Yeah.
So I started Dark Wars with an S, and
How long ago was that?
5 years last month.
Wow.
Congratulations.
I remember you first coming to a networking event and announcing it, like brand new 5 years
That
ago.
was my first time ever.
Yeah.
It was at 1 Million Cups.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was back when it was at the warehouse.
Yeah.
And then they convinced me to talk right away.
I
I'm
remember-
like, I don't even know
remember
what I'm
that
doing.
I remember challenging
Yeah, he kept grilling me. I'm like 3 months into opening the doors, don't even know what I'm doing. This guy's like, well, what about this? And I'm like, I don't know.
Welcome to our world.
He didn't do it. He wasn't mean about it, but I was like, man. But yeah, so I took over the business basically, and that failed, and changed a bunch of things that I wanted to, from a customer perspective, what I wanted. And then the biggest thing was, I think the reason it's been so successful is I just empowered my team.
Yeah, you did.
I'm rarely there.
Very good leader.
Most of my team probably doesn't even know who I am.
That's
I
good.
walk in and they're like, who's this guy?
Or care.
And I
They get a
kept hearing
paycheck,
about,
that's all they care about.
yeah, and I kept hearing about the nightmares of like, hey, hiring high school kids. I call them kids because I'm a kid in high school. And, yes, you have some problems, just like you do with anybody. But it's amazing if you empower people how much they will do for you.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit in a bit as well, because empowerment is about what Lisa and I really try to create in the community, do the program, and the other things we do on the Be Encouraged platform. So Victor, I'm going across to you. It's your turn to share a little bit about who Victor Vento is.
Where do I start? So should I start how we got here or how I got started?
I don't know where you come from.
So let's jump into how I got started. I'm still a big gamer, but I've always been a big gamer. I've been that weird transition of like athlete and gamer. I've always been like a jock, but also a nerd in that sense. So it's like
Nerdish jock.
nerdish jock. Yeah.
All right.
What kind of what sport? Soccer? Or?
Swimming, like I was really into football.
Okay.
Got into diving. So a lot of like football was probably the only sport that was more team oriented. Everything has always been team oriented, but individually racing, like swimming, diving, triathlons, all kinds of things like that. So it's like you go as a team, but you win individually, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the interesting, I bring that up simply because throughout my life, I actually went to school for game design. That was fun. So storyboarding, funny that you mentioned that, storyboarding and all that, like I love that stuff. I love kind of mapping it out and be like, cool, how can we put this simpler and how can we create simple actions to actually just make things happen? And through gaming through like athleticism, that helped me bridge a lot of things when it came to creating game design and looking at like making sure we work together as a team, we all set goals, and so that really helped on that side for school. When it came to gaming, and the reason I got into where I'm at now in marketing was I learned how to code, and I worked for a software company, and I was, again, the perfect mix. I could speak programming, but I was customer facing, so I was like that perfect bridge between the two. And I was just like, here's what the customer wants the app to look like and things like that. And here's what the programmers can do and tell me they can't do because they're like, this doesn't logically make sense. I'm like, if we were to do this. So there was just little things like that. And along the way, I found that I'm really good in that support role when it comes to the tech side, and then customer facing. I really enjoy inspiring people and leading them. I've done that with team members. I've done that with team members, maybe to a detriment at times, but that's how we got to marketing in a nutshell. So,
Do you game with your kids?
Yeah. So my daughter's 8 now, and she found our Game Boy, and so she's been playing Pokemon.
All right.
And I'm like, well, here's all the little cool secrets. Like I
Yes.
remember reading through the the manuals that give you all like, here's all the tips and tricks, and I was like, I remember this stuff. It's like coming back, and I get to like sit there and play with her there. We play like card games all the time. I showed her how to play chess, so it's like it's really fun. It's a whole family thing at night.
Yeah.
Since her younger sister goes to bed a little earlier,
Yeah.
we get like a good hour, 90 minutes with her. So it's like every night.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Marion,
Yes.
share with us a little bit about who is this Tom Marion from New York?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in New York City, right in the heart of the city, and it's funny because when I went off to college, I always make this joke, true story, but I went off to college, and anytime I told people, oh, I'm from New York City, they'd say, oh, Long Island? I'd say, no. Westchester? New Jersey? No, in the city.
Yeah.
And then the next question would always be, oh my God, what was that like?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, I think I'm okay. I'm like, probably not. But I grew up in New York City, which was great because I had the fortune of being surrounded by a world of entertainment and creative professionals. So I started acting at the age of 8. I did a lot of theater, a lot of music. I was a percussionist for many years, still am. But as I went into college, I started to do more behind the scenes. So whether, backstage or behind the camera, both in theater and film, as well as concert settings. So production in all realms. And after graduating, I did a mix of different production work. I worked for a famous comedian for a year. I was director of
Can't name it?
Jim Gaffigan.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I worked for Jim for a year. I also worked as a director of operations for a large festival event, which gave a lot of insight into the event world, having done concert production throughout college as well. So production was always the
Were you
theme.
an NYU guy?
I was not. I was up in Ithaca, Cornell.
Cornell?
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's where I met with my now wife. We got married a few months ago.
Oh,
Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you. Got the ring.
Keep wearing it.
I do.
Stay faithful.
Absolutely. But yeah, we met in college, and then she moved to Minneapolis for a couple of years. We did long distance. I was in New York working in all different realms of production, from TV and broadcast to then be working in-house at Shake Shack, which is a growing, if you don't know,
Oh, yeah.
they're everywhere now. So we were a two-person production team for the whole global brand, which was a lot. I was doing a lot of different jobs, wearing a lot of different hats. So I ended up transitioning from that after a couple of years to being a producer at an agency. So I worked on a bunch of different brands, and that was a really great opportunity until I just realized I wanted to start my own business and go independent and take everything I'd learned from being a producer over the last decade, and as well as building all these creative skill sets from video and photo to animating and motion design. And drone was the most recent, but it's the most fun. And actually a lot of clients really love drone content, whether it's an event, whether it's real estate.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
So it's very versatile.
It takes your content to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
What does your wife do?
New heights, literally.
Yeah.
My wife is actually an innovation strategist. So what that means, I know that's a very new term.
We're innovation strategists.
I was the creative and she was the engineer in college.
Oh,
So she actually worked, when she moved to Minneapolis, she was at 3M. So, they make everything. There's probably something in this
All the
table, but she worked in adhesive technology, so like lint rollers, sponges, home care division, all these things that we use every day and take for granted.
Right.
There's people really, designing and innovating on those. But
Post-it notes.
yeah. Post-it
Yeah,
notes.
post-it
She
notes.
actually, her desk, when she first started there, was the same desk as the guy who created Post-it notes.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh,
so she did that for a while, and then she kind of pivoted into more agency and consulting side. And recently she started a new job when we moved out here at Danone. They own Dannon yogurt, Activia yogurt, Evian water, Stoke cold brew cold brew coffee.
Are they based out of
They're
Denver or?
they're global, but they have a Broomfield office.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, she's somewhere in person now, so that's
Right
great.
on.
And we moved to Denver about 2.5 months ago from New York City, from Brooklyn, and
Because of her job?
well, she actually got it the day we started our drive here.
That's
Oh.
amazing.
So it was just perfect timing.
Yes, you guys just trusted.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she was able to go remote with her last company, but then literally the day we started the drive, she got this offer and spent a couple days deliberating, considering it, and then she took it. So
I love that.
yeah, and luckily I was able to just kind of pick up my business, and now I'm working to build a new local network while kind of still working with a lot of my pre-existing clients remotely or traveling depending on the shoot needs. So yeah.
So we're so glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Our Moises
You and the
is
new
next.
Mrs. Marin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Moises, tell us a little bit about you, buddy.
Hi everyone, my name is Moises. I'm a native here, born and raised. When I grew up, man, I was one of the bad kids, man. Who was always in trouble.
And you question why your kids are acting up.
I know, man. I got into drugs. I got expelled. I was a bad kid. And my dad, he was the one who was like, dude, if you want to go down this road, you're gonna have to learn your own way. I'll help you once, but if you want to keep going down this road, you're gonna have to figure it out. And my mom was the one that just constantly helped me out. And like my brother and my sister, we all went down pretty bad roads. And we learned just from our actions. We had to learn from our mistakes. We went to jail to everything, and I got expelled, as I said, and I was able to graduate with my class, thank goodness. But once I graduated, my dad was like, well, what are you gonna do? What are you not sitting at home all day?
Yeah.
And I got a job. He actually found me a job. It was at Waterworks right down the street.
Oh,
yeah.
Doing car details.
Yeah.
I was there for about a year, and then I applied to a hospital on Fort Carson as a janitorial or a housekeeper.
Yeah.
I was there, and it's where I got my cleaning experience. I got upgraded to floor tech, doing carpet cleaning and doing stripping and waxing and housekeeping, stuff like that. I met my wife there. I I would say about 7 years in, I purchased my home. From that job, I got her pregnant. I moved her in. And a month passed and I lose my job. And for people that hppen to, you know, it's emotional, it's scary, it's overwhelming, it's hard. I took it, you know, how can you take it? I took it as a blessing, because that's the only way I could figure out how to take it. I told myself, you know, I'm gonna take it as a blessing and I'm gonna learn from my actions. It was my own actions that got me fired, and I never once
Thank
missed
you
a
for
mortgage
that
payment.
honesty, my man.
You know, it was my fault.
Yeah, yeah.
And I take responsibility for my actions. And I went to 6 or 7 different jobs, and I just could not find what I'm supposed to do. And getting a job and getting paid and making sure your bills are paid, it's one thing, but when you enjoy your work, or when you go to work and you hate your job and you're just there and you're just emotional. And I had this job, I was working for 7-Up as a merchandiser, stocking shelves, and I'm not that tall, not tall at all. And I had my trainer, he was like 6'7". His steps were like 3 of
Right.
my 3 steps were like 1 of his.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. And then I had
I had a boss
this
like that.
step ladder, and I hated that job. And I called my wife and I was crying. I was like, look, I'm gonna quit. Like, I don't even have nothing saved. I'm just gonna quit. I don't wanna do this. I don't know what to do, but I can't keep living like this. And my wife was just like, you know, just get through the day. Just get through the day. Just get through that day. And I went into prayer that day, and I was just like, God, you know, you gotta show me what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to go. This is not for me, you know, what am I supposed to do? And I was 27 at the time, and we went to a birthday, and it was one of my cousins, and he was talking about entrepreneurship, working for yourself, and being your boss. And I never even heard the word. Like, I didn't learn it through school, I didn't learn anything about it, I didn't know what it was, I didn't know what it meant. So I started doing research, you know, what is an entrepreneur, what do they do, you know, who are these people? And I started, I'm not the best at reading, so I was listening to podcasts and listening to audibles, and I got into like Robert Kiyosaki books, and Grant Cardone, and Tony Robbins, and just listening to these books, man, and I just really wanted to figure out how I could get into this. And I knew I wanted to do it, and I told myself when I was 27, I'm gonna do something by the time I'm 30. I don't know what it is, or where God's gonna lead me, but I'm gonna do something. And I kept reading these books, and I kept working. I found another job with Xfinity doing door-to-door collections, and that job was pretty tough. But it built me. It built me like communication skills towards people. I really learned how to communicate, and in business, you know, you have to know how to talk in business.
Yes, sir.
90% of what we do is communication, you know.
Yes.
And I just really learned how to communicate. And 2020 hit and COVID hit, and I got laid off again. And I'm talking to my wife, like, really, like, am I really going to jump to another job? Like, I just do not want to do that, especially in COVID. And I just got my income tax, so I had some money, and I had my time. My wife was still working. She was working from home. She was pregnant. We had 3 kids, and I'm like, dude, like, all I'm doing is cleaning. Like, I gotta figure. And then I asked myself, you know, what am I good at? What am I really good at?
Cleaning.
And I did so many years cleaning, and I'm like, dude, I gotta get paid for all of this cleaning I do.
Yes.
And as I said, that $200 vacuum, we went and bought a vacuum just to clean our own house. And we went to my father-in-law's, and I was like, you know, I'm doing some side work.
I'm gonna have you truncate this story, because you're going a little long, and we only got so many minutes, brother. Okay, so.
Well, yeah, I cleaned my father-in-law's place, and then my sister seen me, and then I cleaned her place. And then just more people and more family kept seeing me, man, and they just kept using me. And we went out and we designed our logo ourselves. We came up with the name and logo.
I remember that.
And everything.
Yeah.
We found networking groups, and from that $200 vacuum to now 2 vans and a team, and we're just growing our business. And it's very hard and emotional and scary, but this is what God's told me to do.
Yeah.
This is
So
how
you've
I
been
feel.
killing it, man. We're
Yeah.
getting so much great feedback about
Awesome
your work.
feedback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're at almost 200 5-star reviews on Google.
That's amazing.
So,
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for how it's going.
Yeah.
But this is just the very beginning.
Well, and just watching you bloom in community, you are a prime example of how networking works in the city and all the collaboration that you do with other peers as well in the city. I've seen you bloom. I remember you being really quiet when you first walked into 1 Million Cups way back in the day, and now you work a room. You own that room when you enter.
Well, networking is fun. Like, honestly, you can network every day of the week.
Yeah.
And if
Every
they're
hour.
fun.
Yeah.
That's how you build your work. You know,
Yeah.
80 to 90% of my work comes from referrals.
Right.
And
Exactly.
everybody loves our work.
Yeah, so you've been doing good work though, so it's easy to refer you, my
Yes,
friend.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Dylan, I know we want to go back to this transition. First of all, make sure people know what Dart Wars is and why it's valuable in our community. What's the value add that you bring by doing Dart Wars?
So with my kids, I wanted to definitely, it's hard these days to find stuff to do with your kids, right? There's a lot of gaming, there's a lot of electronic time. That's a part of their lives now. I mean, no matter how much you hate it or love it, that's part of it. It's interwoven into their lives, right?
Yeah.
And so in that, like, what do I want to do when I grow up? The Dart Wars, when I went there, I was like, man, it brought me back to being a kid, and I was doing it with my son, right? And then my daughters got involved. They loved it too. So I love when girls have birthday parties at Dart Wars, because it's not just for boys. Because people go, oh, that's great for the boys. I'm like, no, man, my girls love it too.
Yeah.
And that's
Who doesn't love shooting somebody?
well, it's funny. So, little quick side story. So my littlest daughter, she's 10, and she's a psychopath. Man, she's gonna be like special ops or CIA killer when she grows up. She is crazy and physical and awesome. I have this super modified gun blaster. We don't call them guns. Blaster. That, I mean, it shoots like 20 balls a second. It's
wow.
way modified, and it has 3D printed parts on it, so it holds 175 rounds.
Oh, that's so
Are they
I have-
balls or darts?
Yeah, the balls,
Okay.
the rival
Do
balls.
they hurt?
No.
You can feel 'em.
No, I mean you can feel them, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Now this one, yeah, it can hurt.
It's not
Like
like
if you get like 30 of them at once from this distance, oh yeah.
Bruised.
But it was funny. So whenever she plays, she uses that,
Okay.
and she just goes crazy out there.
Oh man.
And I wasn't playing, and I was dealing with something. I walk into the dugout, and these two dads are coming off, going, "Where did that girl get that thing?" And I'm like, "Ha ha ha! You guys got smoked by my daughter." Anyways, so Dart Wars. Dart Wars is an indoor Nerf battle arena. So think laser tag, but with Nerf blasters, because I hate laser tag because you just run around aimlessly for like 15 minutes, and the same kid will just stand there shooting you the whole time. You're like, this isn't. I mean, I still think it's fun to run around and stuff, but I'm like, man, there's got to be more. So Dart Wars is modeled more like paintball. 5-minute games, short games. We have multiple game modes, so you have to actually work with your team. And if you get hit during the game, you have to sit out that game. So there's consequence. So that's what really drives kids crazy, because they're thinking it's a real mission out there. Like I'll go out there and play every once in a while, see how my rests are doing, see what the vibe's like, what we could do better. And like kids will come up and go, "Okay, dude, this is what you got to do." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna do it."
It's pretty fun.
Kids,
We went.
kids, yeah,
It was awesome.
Kids, they start formulating teamwork and working together. So
Yeah.
what brought me to do that was the fact that I really wanted to do something fun. I mean, I'm having a blast doing it.
Yeah.
But literally, yeah. The great thing is I wanted to be more than just a business. I wanted to try to integrate into the community. What can I do? So I want to bring fun to the community. Okay, that's a big touchy-feely thing. Great, you're bringing fun to the community. But at the same time, I integrated our passion is fostering. So I brought that into Dart Wars as well. So we do foster family nights. We do.
That's awesome.
The bigger thing is, and we raise money for every we do toy drives, and working with referring veterans, which is a great group. We have gotten, it's grown a lot. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is I hire group home and foster teams.
Wow.
Not exclusively, I hire anybody, but
Yeah.
I try to pull in some
That's
quality
a target
foster
market
tenants.
for you, yeah.
And the fact that when they come in for interviews, they are rough around the edges. I mean, these kids have been through a lot of trauma, I mean, sitting on the CASA board and stuff,
Yeah.
but, they, if they walked into a normal interview, most of us would go, not a chance, no way. Like, just because they don't have those social cues, they don't have the social abilities they didn't have the upbringings, they've had a lot of trauma. Anyways, making this too long, but bottom line, I like integrating Star Wars in a little way that we can to try to help back out with the community.
That's why it says growth, though. You have just one location now?
So we have two. So we started with the original location down south,
Right.
which is Central Colorado
Right.
Springs, which we just moved last month because the lease was up.
Yeah.
And I found a perfect space, but that one enabled me to grow to now I have a second location up by the Top Golf up north.
Yep.
And the cool thing about that, or I would say cool, is a loose word of terrifying, is I own that building.
Yeah.
So now I'm into the real estate side and a landlord side, because I built an addition to that building. There's a restaurant in
Pizza
there.
there.
There's a restaurant, Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect
Yep, and that's what I
partner
wanted
for
to
you.
do.
Yes.
They feed all our parties.
Yep.
So we've grown into the second location and then also started franchise.
There we
So,
go.
yeah.
Yes,
Well,
indeed.
That's awesome.
That is wonderful,
Yeah.
isn't it? Really, we often use Dark Wars as a model in our community of how you can track some business growth and create opportunities for leveling up. And you being a special ops guy, now shooting people with these kind of things and stuff, you see the natural progression, right?
Yeah.
Or finding your purpose on
Yes.
earth, right? So it just makes sense.
Well, he's a kid at heart, and he found something that he loves to do, that he can do, it's family oriented, and that's where your heart is. It's great.
Yeah, you're such a good dad, too.
Yeah.
We see that
I
in
don't know if you ask my kids.
Yeah, well, our kids.
There's a lot of yelling and screaming in our house.
Yeah, well, they're getting older, I mean. expect
Our
us to
kids
not
never
like you.
give us the props, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we gotta give you the props, because
Yes.
your kids are cool. Yeah, well, I have 5 myself, so I've been through that. Yeah, so, Tom, if you would, because we're winding down. These great conversations are so awesome that they go too quick,
Yeah.
right? So give
Sure.
people overarching value that you're bringing to community.
Yeah.
And also, should we ask him for something else right now?
Yeah, I think
What do
we
you-
need to, based on time.
Become time, yeah, okay.
Double question.
Yeah.
Double
Props.
question.
Yeah.
Double question,
Yeah.
overarching value,
Mhm.
and I want you to tell people something encouraging and hopeful for our communities.
And you can look right there at that camera.
That camera.
Got it. Okay. So in terms of value, I would say the value that I bring is being able to tell, and you said this in my little bio, but being able to tell a story for any business, whether that's a small local business or a large global brand. And I've had the pleasure of, an opportunity of working with a lot of these big brands over the last decade, but that's not where my sense of fulfillment comes in. It's from working with people who just want to tell their story, whether they're, a startup business, a nonprofit organization, an event, or just a person or an artist who wants to tell that story, whether it's through video or photo or animation or whatever. But especially, after coming out of the pandemic in 2020, we saw how much video and visual storytelling is prevalent, and it's important to marketing any business, or even just making people aware of what the value of your business is, or telling your story of how you started your businesses and why people should care.
Right.
So if anything, for me, that's the most value that I can add to a community, and being able to bring out the stories that deserve to be told. And I love doing it, and I love making new relationships and working with people. I'm a very people-driven person. I think my relationships are probably the most important thing in my life. More than work. So, I'm always willing to make a deal if it works, if someone's budget is not working in line with what my services are. But I'm here to, build a community. And I think the reason why my wife and I moved out of New York City is New York City is just a huge chaotic mess, and we love it. Love living there, love growing up there, but we wanted a sense of community and a sense of feeling like locals and building a new community from scratch, or integrating into a pre-existing community out here. So that is a huge part of why I do what I do and why I moved here in the first place.
Yes. And that's your encouraging piece?
Encouraging piece. I would say, having started my business a couple years ago, anybody who is a business owner or wanting to start a new business, or I feel like my line is like, expect nothing, but be ready for and open to anything. Because there's just, if you set your expectations a little bit low, you can only be pleasantly surprised by how things go. But also, just be open to anything that comes your way, any person. Don't look down on anybody or any task. I think that's a big part of my work ethic and why I've been able to succeed so far. At least I think I have. And yeah, just be a good person and do things for others and give back to your community.
Right on,
Yeah.
right on. We look forward to hearing about all the great things that are gonna happen in your business.
Thank you so much.
Moving forward, definitely. Victor, same thing.
What value do I bring in an
Yes.
encouraging moment
In an encouraging moment.
or statement? Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as value, it's the fastest value that I can show people is general. I mean, like we did this earlier this morning. We all had a conversation, and it was. I often find very quickly some simple actions that people can leverage that give you the most return. Oftentimes without even my assistance or my involvement. It's like, I mean, we did that this morning. The three of us were having a conversation. I was like, here you go. There's 3 things you guys can do right now without changing much of what you're doing. Leverage what you already have and who you are. And I think that comes from the way I look at game design in general. I'm very user experience focused. I love these open world games where you can just choose your own adventure, and so a lot of that is I found that that's a good skill of mine is to pull that out from people. Like, what is it that you want to do? Because there's a way. Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a way. There's many ways to do things, right? There's no the way of doing things. There are better ways of doing things, and oftentimes the better way is what's better for you, versus here's what the industry is doing. You should do it this way. Instead of putting you in a box, really looking at how do you interact, who are you, and pulling that out. Because that really what separates everyone in any business. They buy the story, they buy the person, the way something is done, versus it's like most people can find any marketer. It's that person that they're buying more than anything else. So as far as encouragement goes, I'll say I look at everything in life as a game. I tell my daughters this all the time, and it's really interesting because I think it can be perceived that I'm very video game. I'm all about playing. We love Dark Wars. My daughter she's kind of like your daughter in that sense. Like I saw her out there. She was like poking her head and like doing stuff. But as far as encouragement, everything's a game. Everything in life I look at it as a roller coaster. There's 2 ways to ride the roller coaster. You can ride with your eyes closed, freaking out the entire time, or you can put your hands up and have fun. Both ups and downs.
That's me.
So it's like you can't get off the roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
You will one day, but ride it one of 2 ways. I prefer to ride it with my hands up, enjoying all the scariness of going down really fast. Sometimes you're like, this is too much. And also, like when you're going up, you're like, cool, this is nice. I see a bird flying across, So it's like, ride the roller coaster, choose how you want to ride the roller
I
coaster.
like that.
Right? So
Great analogy,
Yeah.
my friend. Moises?
Well, I guess, for me, we definitely just got certified in our cleaning in our business. It was such a huge accomplishment and a goal. We put that goal, Mr. Brandon James Kirk, he's my mentor. He's been just challenging me with big, huge goals, and when I accomplish them, man, it's such an amazing feeling to know that I did that. And when we go into these homes now, we can identify these spots from stains. We can identify different type of fibers from other fibers. We can guide into wool rugs and different type of cleaning. And it's just such a game changer when you really know what you're doing and how you're doing it. So I said I started with a $200 vacuum. I didn't know anything about, a clue about what I was doing compared to how I am now. How it is to clean, to do like BLM cleaning, like very low moisture cleaning, to brush pro cleaning. We got into grout tile and hardwood and surfaces, stuff like that. We just really branched out, and we really know how to identify, know how to clean these carpets and stuff like that. And I say for my encouragement, life is just such a journey, and I have to keep riding it as well. I'll jump on a roller coaster and I'm hold on as hard as I can. I'm not holding my hands up. But I stay very grateful, I stay very
I'll go in the
positive,
front with you.
and it's very ups and downs, and I stay very humble, and I'm just very grateful for how it is, and I just stay very humble. And I can't compete with other businesses. I compete just with myself, and I know I'm growing at my own pace.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Moises. That's Tailor Maid Carpet Care, indeed. And give us something encouraging, my friend.
Something encouraging. So I wholeheartedly believe you got to believe in yourself.
yeah.
Believe in yourself and never quit.
Mm.
Those are the two things. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is, right? And then by believing in yourself and never quitting, I mean, everybody here knows being in your own business is not easy. So there's going to be great days. There's going to be not so great days, right?
Yes.
But if you believe in yourself and if you have that attitude that I'm never going to quit, that's what you got to do.
Don't quit.
Love it.
You can't
Don't
lose
quit.
if you don't quit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bento Bot Advertising and Marketing. Suspension Media with Mr. Tom Marin. Tailor Maid Carpet Care with Mr. Moises Taylor, and also DK Newman. He is the owner of Dart Wars. Reach out to these great companies that are doing amazing things in community. You want to close us?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, if you want to reach more people, we are at a reach of 45,000 a week and growing. Super excited about that. So visit our website at beencouraged.net to become a sponsor or request an on-site visit and get your business name out there to our growing audience.
And why wouldn't you do that, right? Who does not want to align with the mission of hope and encouragement, right? And join the rebellion as the encouraged nation as we go against the grain of culture and tell people just because it's jacked up doesn't mean you have to be jacked up.
That's right.
Right? So,
That's
we'll be back with another show soon. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Krystал's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Krystал's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Krystал's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Krystал's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Krystал's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Krystал's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Krystал's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Krystал's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
So we're very excited to announce that the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa is now reaching over 30,000 listeners each week and growing.
And growing.
Why
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Be Encouraged show.
I'm Frank,
I'm Lisa.
and we're so glad that you would join us here on Motivation Monday. Yeah, Monday afternoon. How
Yes,
you feel?
I feel fantastic. We just had a good first show. You guys are going to have a blast. Welcome to our show.
You might as well, right?
Yeah.
What else we can do? Right? So we're welcoming three incredible humans. I just met Brianne.
Yes, Friday.
Yeah, but she just told me how incredible she was. So we'll make sure we throw that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are indeed. And Judge Victor Reyes is here finally.
Yes, took a minute.
Yeah, we've been talking back and forth for just a little while. And Laura's here as well. And she told me she knew me on Friday when I met her. But we met officially, right? Yeah. So we had met before a while back. Yeah, I'm over 60, so I call my wife baby so I don't jack it up.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I'm excited. I don't know any of y'all, so this is all the first face-to-face experience. Yes.
Yeah, you want to introduce these folks?
Yes, absolutely. So to my right, we have Judge Victor Reyes, or Reyes.
Yes.
He is a former district judge, presided over diverse cases here in Colorado. With extensive experience in law, he now focuses on judicial wellness, domestic violence advocacy, and mindfulness training internationally and nationally. He leads various programs promoting well-being and ethical conduct, emphasizing compassion and, ooh, my favorite word, resilience.
Oh.
Yes. That's amazing. Love it.
Yeah, welcome, Judge.
And yes, and to my left, Miss Brianne Price is a Colorado native, married to her high school sweetheart, who is now a paramedic lieutenant. And that's, which city is he working in?
He works up in Grand County, so
Okay.
Winter
Where's
Park,
that?
Fraser.
Winter Park,
nice.
Fraser.
Yeah, but we live down in the city.
Which isn't far. Like
No,
that's what?
an hour and a half drive.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And they have lots of fun. They're a family of 4 with their son and daughter. She's a former elementary teacher turned business owner. She owns Mills and May Services LLC.
Meals
Oh,
and Mac.
No,
Mac?
it's
No, it's
May.
May.
You said
Yeah.
it.
Oh, is
Mills
it?
and May.
That's funny.
He's got to get new
It's
prescription.
okay.
He's fine.
You're good.
Which coaches.
You're good.
And so, you're throwing me off, right?
Meals and Mac.
Anywho, so she coaches and connects US-based remote assistants with amazing end clients, which are business owners. Her goal is to help small business owners all around the nation chase what they are passionate about and delegate the other tasks.
Yes.
I love that.
We love you already.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Kind
isn't
of
that
like you're delegating reading to you instead of Frank.
Exactly. Exactly. Are you gonna be able to read that, or you want me to? You got it. Okay.
Don't worry, he zoomed in.
Yes.
Just teasing. I'm kidding.
You can't do that with a paper.
This is an intervention, Frank, actually.
Yeah, my wife would be very happy about an intervention.
right?
Me, Laura. She is a triple licensed realtor with 17 dynamic years in real estate across Kansas, Missouri, and Colorado, and over a decade as a certified coach, trainer, and speaker. She started when she was 11.
Yeah.
She's also a prodigy, right? So Laura's central mission is clear. She helps businesses and individuals solve complex problems, surmount what is that? Surmount roadblocks? Overcome
Yes.
roadblocks. Why do you
We
use
need
the word
ChatGPT, Joshua.
Overcome roadblocks. Amass wealth.
I knew I should have read.
And fulfill their greatest ambitions and potential. That's Laura's origin.
So, Laura, I'm curious, are you a military wife or have you moved a lot? What caused you to move quite a bit?
So Kansas, Missouri, because I lived in Kansas City. So
Okay, yeah, so they overlap.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so I had grown up just 2 hours south of there. My mom was from there, so I moved up there for college and finished college when I was only 20. And then my first job out of college was in construction development and it opened up the world of real estate to me. So eventually I got my real estate licenses there. And then I started traveling out here for one of my consulting clients and I fell in love with it. So eventually I moved out here and then I got my Colorado license. So I still hold my Kansas, Missouri licenses too.
Nice. Well, I'm a huge Branson fan. I love taking the family to Branson. We have an upcoming vacation there.
Where you staying, you guys?
I'm a Westgate owner, so yeah, we go there. Yeah.
I love that. My parents go to Big Cedar a lot. So take care of your kids.
Well, if you have any tips for me, let me know if I need to see something there. So yeah. But your family's still out there in Kansas City?
They are. So my parents and my brothers and their families still live in southeast Kansas where I grew up, and then I still have like my mom's family in the Kansas City area. So I have aunts and uncles and cousins all over.
Awesome. I was surprised how humid it is up there.
It is very humid.
Yeah.
Eastern Kansas is very different than Western Kansas. It's
Yeah.
rolling hills and lakes and rivers, and so lakes back home are like ski slopes here. Within a couple hours, there's over 100 different lakes that I grew up being able to go to.
I love that. I'm a water baby, so yeah. Awesome.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, we're not.
I love Colorado.
Whatever you do, don't click your heels.
So lighten up, Dorothy.
My dad makes fun of me when I go back home because he's like, you forgot what it's like to be in heat and humidity. And I'm like, yes, I much enjoy the dry heat, dry cold here.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
Indeed. I'm from North Carolina, so I know humidity very, very well. Yeah, so Judge, you are a podcast host, even though you bring a darn person. I throw that in for free.
Yeah. We work very hard on Friday.
But isn't it incredible who did show up?
You did show up.
So, well, not that I
That you
but
showed up?
These folks showed
That
up.
we brought them on?
Yeah.
Yes, you're
So
welcome.
whatever I was doing worked.
Yes.
Whatever you were doing.
Oh my goodness.
Give us a little bit of history about Dr. Reyes. And
Dr. Reyes.
I mean,
I just
Judge.
got pay raise.
Yeah.
You hired on a doctor.
Well, I was a public defender for 15 years, and then I was a judge for 15 years, and 30 years in the state, I was ready to go. And there was a lot of changes that happened in my life, probably about 2013 or 2014, and I just made the decision that was it. So basically, I retired January 1st of 2015.
2015.
Right, and so since then,
Congratulations.
yeah, it's going on a decade.
Wow.
So, and it's a major accomplishment when you can spend all your para money, your retirement money, that's PRA. And now I tell my daughter who works for the state, make sure you keep working because you're paying for my, retirement now. So what happened is during the past few years, I got involved with, first of all, this idea of well-being for judges. And also since 2017, I have been leading yoga and domestic violence-based classes in several of the penitentiaries here.
So I have 3 classes that I do at the federal penitentiary in
Leading
Florence.
yoga in
Yeah.
the penitentiary?
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah,
I'm
The Nile Brothers
curious.
yoga?
Well, we're actually going to do a session while
now?
we're here.
I'm
No.
a yogi. I'm learning a lot about yoga. My husband loves yoga, so, but he doesn't know a thing about yoga.
Well, he won't by the end of the hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been, that's what I've been involved in. And I've also been talking lately a lot about this idea of thriving as a human being, because we have a lot of sayings, a lot of, I used to call them memes, but now it's memes, right? It's the correct pronunciation, but even in the penitentiary, we've got all these, nice posters around, but they mean nothing until you can take that into your DNA and actually make that life change. So I've been very blessed to do that, and then also I'm blessed to do trainings. I'll be going to England to do a talk at a law school, and in South Africa to do a wellness program with the judges there. And then I'll end up going, I love going to India. My teachers are in India. So then I'll spend a month in India.
You must be woo-woo.
Yeah.
Pardon?
You must be a little woo-woo in there.
Well,
Go to India.
you know what?
Come on now, fess up, Judge.
Well,
Are you gonna wear white robe and just kind of hang out?
I don't know if woo would be a good thing when you're traveling in those kind of countries. Why don't you come with me and see how woo-woo we get?
That'll change your life.
Yeah, and I'll be like,
I don't know.
I'll have you, I can see you levitating on the Ganges. Right?
Yeah.
That's right. When you see that, snap this picture. I want to see it.
So are you married?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
Was it rough?
He's single.
Were you married as a judge? Because I'm curious about what that was like.
For me? To be married?
Were you married? Have you ever been married?
I think you're asking
Let's
the
start
wrong
with
person.
that. Have you ever been married? Oh.
I don't
Am I
know.
stepping into something again? Okay.
Yeah. No, what do you do?
I have a daughter.
Let's go over to Brienne.
Okay.
How are you?
You're good.
I'll get to your name.
You're good.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Yeah,
darling.
what do you want me to say?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I think I read the look at him.
I know.
You're right, I shouldn't have
I
drank. Well,
Kate
tell
is
us a
good.
little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm new to the business world. I'm a former teacher, elementary and preschool.
I'm sorry, you okay?
Some people are still preschoolers, so it's fine. I know how to deal with it. It's the same principles. Repeat things, calm voices. I mean, is it not?
She just-
It's so true.
I'm so
She
sorry.
messing with me.
No, never.
You're right though, with
That's
the
good.
customers and dealing with customers, it is the same approach.
Yeah.
We all have a little bit of kid in us.
We do,
It's
and we
fine.
should.
And stay that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so how did the transition happen from school to this?
Yeah, totally. So I was teaching preschool and I had my daughter. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go back to teaching, like it'll be totally fine. And then it wasn't because having a newborn and having 2 kids was a lot because I have a son that's older. He's 6 now and my daughter's almost 2. So I was like, oh, this is a whole different ballgame.
Especially when they get into sports.
Oh, yeah, like all the things. So I was like, well, I need something from home. And there weren't great options, especially for stay-at-home moms. So I put up on Facebook and said, who needs a virtual assistant or a personal assistant, which are 2 very different things that I have learned.
Yes.
But I had no idea. I had like barely heard of that term, and I had 8 job offers in 24 hours. Because thanks to COVID in a way,
Yes.
I mean, our world is so connected that it was from people all over the United States. So I've done that for almost 2 years now. I have 3 different end clients or business owners that I personally work with, but I had a ton of friends come to me, especially stay-at-home moms or people that are like on their way to retirement and just want something like easy to like ease into retirement, some of that like travel money. So I kind of work with both spectrums of people, and I developed Mills and May services from a variety of different business plan ideas, and just threw myself in there. So I coach remote assistants. It's easier.
Yes.
Word virtual assistant is odd. It doesn't really like work. And then
Why doesn't virtual work? We
Um,
call ours a VA.
yeah, well, some do.
Yeah.
But some think of it more like an outsourcing thing, which is not necessarily what I do. Everyone that I work with is US based,
Oh, okay.
so that's different.
Yeah.
And it's more of the like strategic planning and implementation rather than just strict implementation that you could get with like an overseas VA.
Yeah.
So, it's more than just an assistant. It's another way to say it is like a stakeholder. Or
So what,
yeah.
explain the naming of your company. What-
Yeah, they're my kids' names.
Oh,
They're my
okay,
kids'
that's
middle
sweet.
names. So
Yeah.
Mills is a family name for my son, and then May is my daughter's middle name.
So does that mean you're done having kids?
100%.
Okay.
1010%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not adding to my
Yeah.
name ever.
Just saying,
It will be Mills and May. Yeah. That's done. We're good.
Are you
Two is
sure?
enough. Yeah, thank you. I'm good. I have plenty of student kids over the years as well that I can consider, so.
It's no joke, is it?
Whew.
I'm telling you.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
So,
baby. Yeah. Wow.
So that's what I do. And then I connect them with business owners, especially small business. Small
What
and
a
medium.
grand idea.
Yeah, and I just threw myself in there.
Yeah,
So
might as well.
here we
right?
are. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's incredible. It really
Excited to
is.
be here.
I am so excited to see the continued growth of Meals in May
Yeah, thank
and
you.
all the things, guys. Look her up for your not VA work.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Remote assistant.
But
All
much
good.
more, yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, young lady, your name isn't written on my paper, kind of, I forgot it almost. Laura. I'm joking with you, Laura. Laura, I got a chance to really talk with you a little the other day. And what struck me about your presence was your transparency and vulnerability in that space. Would you tell us a little bit about who Laura Swearingen is, please?
Sure. Where would you like me to start?
Wherever you want. Wherever you're comfortable.
So I grew up in a small town in southeast Kansas on a farm showing horses, and I didn't know that I switched college degrees abruptly, much to my mother's dislike. I gave up a full ride pre-med scholarship, and I completely changed directions and went to DeVry University because at the time I was really beating up on myself. I was very hard on myself. If I made a mistake on a test, I'm like, oh, I knew that. How could, why did, it was always internal talk that we all have at some point. But I saw the movie, the name of it just left me, but it's with Meg Ryan, City of Angels. And she loses a patient and she just like beats up on herself. And I'm like, that's gonna be me. And so all this internal talk, and I didn't really talk to anyone about this. And a recruiter came from DeVry. I'm like, oh, I'm really good with computers. I learn really fast. I mean, I can be done when I'm 20. That means I can get back to showing horses a whole lot faster. And I had this whole plan. Yeah, it didn't work out that way. But I did. I did a 5-year degree in 2.5 years. And my first job was for one of the largest builder developers in Kansas City. And in order to do anything with their database, I had to learn how to build a house. And I loved it, and that opened up all these other doors. But what it also opened up was my own journey of growth, personally and professionally, and learning and growing. And there was a gentleman at the first real estate brokerage where I was at. I was really smart. I got licensed in April of 2007. My mind was crashy.
Right.
Yeah.
I did really well. It wasn't a surprise to me because I had been in mortgage right before that, and we had saw different things happening that were signs that things were going to change. And he goes, you have a gift. And I'm like, what is he talking about? he goes, you have a gift for coaching. Because agents would come to me, they would ask me for help, and I would just share what I was doing. But I didn't really understand what I was doing. And so I finally paid attention to what he was sharing with me. And he also was like, how do you know all these people? I'm like, I don't know, I'm just me. And I got licensed because I was putting land deals together because I was a connector, still am. And someone's like, you could get paid to do this. And so I share that because that led me into my own journey of healing, studying early childhood development, trauma, the effects on ourselves, and what trauma does. And there's two types of trauma. There's the bad things that happen to us that we're not meant to receive, and then there's the good, then there's not receiving the good things that we're meant to receive. So those are the two types of trauma, and they affect the way we grow. And sometimes not receiving those good things that we're meant to receive actually have more detriment into our identity than receiving bad things. And so I started really pursuing my own healing, but also getting certified and coaching others to have those breakthroughs, because as I grew and as I healed and I stopped living from wounds, my life started to change, and it's really amazing how freeing that is. And so that also, I did really well with real estate. I helped people get out of short sales. I did a lot of REO, foreclosure, but I did not learn boundaries very well at that point. And so I didn't have a life, and it almost took me out of real estate, but I loved real estate. I loved helping people achieve their goals or have a breakthrough or helping them out of a really difficult situation at that time. But I started consulting, and that allowed me to start traveling, which I love because I've always been very independent. I've always been the explorer. And that's what brought me to Colorado, which I didn't know anybody here. And I built a huge network, and I fell in love with it. And I kept coming back, and I felt called here. And
Are you here in Colorado Springs?
I am, yes. I've been here full time since 2016 because I split time for a while between here and Kansas City. And I just loved it. But my heart really, the more I grew, the more I discovered my heart for people. And whether that's helping someone achieve a goal or helping them asking their good questions, which don't come from me. I always pray before coaching sessions, and asking the right question for someone to connect to that to have a major breakthrough is very rewarding. And whether that's a coaching client or a buyer or seller or investor with real estate, I love that.
Let me ask you a question real quick when we get back to you, Judge, here, because you said this internal conversation that you were having with yourself about I'm not good enough, I'm make mistakes. What's the genesis of that? What created that inside of Laura?
So I believe it was a combination of my strengths. So I'm a certified Clifton strengths coach, and we're all born with innate talents that with skills, maturity, and development, they become our strengths. And achiever is my number 2 strength. But there can be shadow sides of strengths. And so if you're in situations or environments where you experience loss or you experience criticism or you're experiencing these different things, then it can develop the shadow side of those strengths to where you become overcritical of ourselves. And I love my parents and they're great people, but we all don't know what we don't know. And we as children end up perpetuating whatever we learned, the environments we learned in, until someone actually says enough, and we break those family cycles and systems. And so there was a lot of criticisms. There was a lot of kind of a sense of perfection.
And that's what people are going to relate to, Laura. You see what I mean? Because that's what takes us back to the stories in our lives, excuse me, that creates these negative spaces for us. The other side sounded very clinical, right? And I appreciate you bringing that out, but the overwhelming majority of people don't care. They just simply don't. Here's the deal, is what happened. I grew up in a family that created these spaces inside of me. So now I need to find a way to navigate through and out.
And my parents were, so my mom battled severe depression.
Okay.
It triggered, I believe, after my youngest brother was born, and so probably a combination of postpartum, but it brought up her own trauma. So my parents didn't necessarily have the emotional capacity to really be and show up as parents. Not that they didn't want to, they did their best.
Absolutely. This is no knock on them at all.
And they still do the best that they can.
Yes.
But that's why we do have a choice, and change and healing can be very scary. Like there was a point in my life where I was like, counselors, not that. But now my saying is, don't hire a counselor that doesn't have a counselor, and don't hire a coach that doesn't have at least one coach and probably a counselor too, because we're that's very true. I feel that.
There's so many depths.
Yeah,
that we
yes.
don't know.
And we're messy, and it's okay that we're human and we're messy. Like none of us are free of trauma. None of us are free of wounds or that imposter voice or the judge voice, and so it's what we do with it and how we decide to move forward that really matters.
So I have a question for you. Did you have a hard time coming out with your story to try to protect family members?
Yes, and I still haven't really talked a lot about that very much. I will do more like one-on-one, but I haven't
In a group setting.
Yeah,
in a group setting.
Understood. Yeah.
Why do you ask?
I ask that because there's a lot of people who don't look head on into their past traumas because certain people are still alive. And you can probably speak more to that too, Judge, is being in the arena you're in, I'm sure you heard lots of stories, but for people to actually own their trauma and what they experience and talk about it, it takes a lot of guts.
It does take a lot of guts.
Yeah.
I've been trying to bring this out over here
Yeah,
for a
but
minute.
to speak out of it, like to actually verbally say it out loud in public, especially on a live podcast, it's a thing.
It is, and what has made it easier, and hopefully this will help someone else, is that I've learned that I don't have control over anyone else, and I have a lot of compassion and grace for my parents, because the more I've learned and grown, now I can see the root of where their stuff comes from. Their behavior has to do with their own trauma. The majority of everyone's behavior has nothing to do with them receiving it or us. And so I always ask myself, like, what does it look like to meet another person well? What does it mean to love well? And there's all different forms of love. And so with my family, it's like, how do I show up and stay true to me and extend that grace and compassion and empathy and love them well? And that's what helps.
I love that.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's a slammer.
Yeah.
But what's really scary is that this idea of trauma did not exist like 20 years ago.
Nope.
You know, I mean, and how many folks have fallen through the cracks, through the medical field, through the mental health field, ending up in facilities, either mental health facilities, prisons, dead through suicide, because that wasn't on anybody's radar.
No one was talking about it, right?
Right, and the other thing about it is, I think that when you are describing it, there's I think of so many things. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
No, please. That's
It's
a great
because,
point.
I mean, we all have a story.
Yes.
And it's easier to tell my story now because both my parents passed. The other thing is you were asking me some questions earlier, and just because somebody may be a judicial officer, doctor, whatever that they are, doesn't mean they don't have a personal life. Doesn't mean that their personal life is hunky dory and just flowing. It doesn't mean that because with me, I mean, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, but I did like to eat. And I was up to like 250, 260, because that's how I dealt with the stressors that were personal and that were professional. And you don't, and then when you're in the middle of it, you don't have the awareness. And that's why when you were talking, it's I always think about, what is it that makes that the switch that flips that we become aware of even how we're living. Because if you don't have that awareness, or you may have the awareness, but you're not honest about it.
Right.
You'll sit there and you'll lie, you'll do this, or whatever that situation, or I can handle it, or whatever it may be. We lie to ourselves a lot because it is so hard to look into the mirror. Well, first of all, we have to find the mirror.
Yes.
So if we can't find the mirror, then we're just kind of on cruise control. And I would think probably 90% of people live their lives that way.
Yeah.
But when you do find the mirror, then you have to be honest about what the mirror is telling you.
That's right.
And then finding the tools to increase your resilience. And I love what you said also about the talent. One of the things I teach in wherever I go, and part of this thriving is based upon this meditation that's done by Alan Wallace. And one of the last part of the meditation, fourth question of this vision quest is, what are your gifts? What do you bring to the world? How do you want to show up in the world? So you were answering question number 4. It's like, okay, how do I want to show up? What do I bring that makes this world better? What are my habits that I need to get rid of or want more of? The second question, working backwards now, is what do I need from my community? What kind of supports? And do I even give myself those supports? And especially with relationships in the domestic violence arena, when I facilitate the group, you ask that question, well, here's what I want. So how many of you have ever asked that of your partner or asked that of yourself? Because we always compromise. Years ago, anxiety, that didn't exist. I thought it was in law school. I couldn't go to law school. And I would fear to work, and I'd rather go to the public defender's office in Rockville, Maryland, and go to the jail than go to the school. I thought I was having heart attacks. No, they were anxiety attacks. And it wasn't until I read about Earl Campbell, it was a very famous football player, him pulling off the side of the highway, trembling in Houston, and having to get a ride home. And I figured, wow, if Earl Campbell, and I'm going to throw in one more thing quickly, is this idea of who, we have to have awareness. We have to understand where our emotions come from. So I think social emotional learning is important because we're human beings. The other thing is, men need to do a much better job of facing their humanity than the pressure that they put on themselves or the pressure that society may put on them. Because when I go do these talks with judges, I get more reactions from women judges than I do from men. Because we're tough, we're this, we're that.
They put on a mask, right?
Yeah, they put on the mask, but it's like you have a mask on, but there's all this kind of hot air and steam coming from behind you. So it's like, yeah, the mask may look at one thing, but something triggers you in 1 second. You're yelling at people, or you're doing things that you wouldn't normally do that may be bordering on unethical.
Right. And Laura, you talked about, loving well. And actually, Woodman Valley Chapel, that's their thing, is love well, and I love that. But it's each human, like, if you don't ask your partner, your sons, your daughters, your cousins, your siblings, how would you like to be loved? What can I do? How can I meet you where you need to be met? If you don't do that, then you'll never hit the target, right?
Don't you have to define what love is?
Exactly.
What is even love?
What is love?
Is it a verb? Is it, I think Sharon Salzberg has a great book on love. And so it's like.
And love is everything. I mean, it's so powerful.
But is it conditional or is it unconditional?
Yeah.
To that point, even if you were to ask sometimes somebody that if they don't know how to love themselves, they don't know how to answer that.
Exactly.
Because depending on what they grew up in, their environment, or any of the stuff that they've been through, they may have a skewed version of view of what love even is. And so sometimes it's hard until I learned how to love myself. I didn't even know how to receive love at some points and certain things.
But that's a whole nother hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going deep here.
One little interesting little. And the other thing is about love, loving yourself, is there's many people that I've met who don't even think they deserve it.
Well,
Right.
it's a lot of people
Oh,
feel
yeah.
that way.
Yeah,
Because that's the
Right.
messaging that they've received.
Yeah.
I just posted this last week, Brianne, and it says, you couldn't heal because you kept pretending you weren't hurt.
That was my favorite verse.
Right.
It's very interesting because I think it's not a coincidence, the people that are in this circle.
Yes.
Because part of my story with creating Nelson May that I don't necessarily, I very much an open book. This is something I talk about often, but I was in a mental hospital the week that I was had decided that I needed to quit teaching. And so I went through some really, really hard things. And then that's literally like Monday after it had gotten out was when I was like, okay, like I can't keep doing this, but what can I do? And that's when I jumped on Facebook and created that post.
What, if you don't make, you
Yeah,
don't have
I'm
to
a very
answer.
open book. Ask
Okay,
away.
well,
Yeah.
you took us to, you're in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
What led up to that?
Yeah, I think your quote, will you read it again?
Yeah, you couldn't heal because you kept pretending you weren't hurt.
Yeah, I pretended for a really long time. I also, the reason I'm not having any more children is because I suffer really bad from postpartum depression and anxiety. It's like underlying in my hereditary genes. But then postpartum does not help that, come to find out. So after having my daughter, I had pretended, even to my husband, that I was fine, and I wasn't. And so it came to, I didn't want to be here anymore. So, yeah. And then, thank you. Yeah, of course. And I really do, am very open and willing to share because I know, like, I mean, we've all said, how do you love yourself? I still am on the journey, but I feel like I'm much more on the other side.
That's a no.
Yeah.
There's not a plateau that we reach.
No.
Trying to figure that out.
I heard once that instead of a journey, it's like an expedition.
Oh.
Because like when I lived in Panama when we were kids, in the canal zone, we take a machete and we just start chopping through the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our path. And so when we think of journeys, we think kind of a linear thing.
Yeah.
Going from point A to
that ain't
point
happening.
And when you're kind of like hacking through life with the tools that you get, right? And then it's like, wow, this is a little bit easier. And then, oops, I ran into this big old brush. I need more tools.
Yeah.
And so I like the idea of life as an expedition.
So Brianne, I'd like to say this to you.
Brianne.
Brianne, I said that.
She said it very fancy.
I thought she said it.
No,
You said
it's good.
fancy.
I like it.
I'm sorry.
You can call me Fancy Brianne anytime. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I grew up with a clinically depressed mom, so I totally appreciate your wellness. And I would just encourage you to continue to be open to your kids.
Totally.
I had to self-define what she would openly tell me. I was clinically depressed, but I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to
process through that.
Process it by surviving on the streets.
Yeah.
In really rough neighborhoods and self survival. But it's because she didn't know how to define it.
Yeah.
She didn't have the tools. So just be open with them and always be help them along the way too. Even though I know it'll be hard for you as well, because you'll always be evolving and growing into it.
For sure.
But I love that you're so open to it and your babies need you. And so thank you for being that.
This is to be encouraged.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you something really, really quickly. Because this show right now, today, is going to change someone's life.
Yeah.
It really is. This is what we want to see in community. This is what connects us together as a humanity, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and create space for people to say, you know what? Yeah, I feel that. Yes.
It's this idea of allowing that vulnerability, especially when society, in many different aspects, is pushing against that.
Totally.
This idea of, like I tell people, this idea of being tough is the biggest lie.
You almost cussed.
You
almost cussed on that show.
I remember the time.
This is not after hours.
It's a family show. Your children make me laugh. And your grandchildren make me laugh. Why is grandma allowing that? But no, it's this idea of living in a society where you can't be vulnerable because you can't. You should be.
Yeah.
But society's like, oh no, we
culture
gotta do
tells
this
you the
and that.
opposite. Yes.
So when you use words like compassion, empathy, it's like, oh, these are woo-woo.
Oh, come on. Don't throw my woo-woo at me.
That was 20 minutes ago.
That's not what I meant. Yeah, I'm all for dudes being that way, right? Aren't I?
Yes.
Yeah, I am totally that way. When I say woo-woo, that means that maybe an Eastern practice that we're not accustomed to in the Western world that really kind of goes against the grain of the standard. I'm not going to say norm because I don't know what that means, but the standard practices. That's what I call it.
What I find is this idea that maybe the West is caught up in that each one of us is talking about looking into our own minds.
Mhm.
That's what we're talking about.
You're just trying to defend woo-woo, dude.
Woo-woo's got my back for 3,000 years.
Yeah.
You're what, 60?
Yeah.
I'll go with woo-woo. You're like,
Hey, 3,000 years.
Hold
You
that.
don't look anywhere near that age, Jeff.
well, it's this lotion that I have.
Yeah.
That you can buy it.
Way to tie it back in.
$50.
Yeah, well done.
Oh my, that is so good. So good. Thank you for your vulnerability in the moment as well. You know, you guys, this is such a great conversation.
Yes,
Aren't you
rich.
glad Judge invited you?
Yeah.
Thank you, lady.
Yeah, thank you.
Checks in the mail.
Perfect.
Doesn't it always work out perfectly?
The way it's supposed to work. Exactly. Normally we have 4 people in here. I'm glad we only have 3 today.
Yes.
I think this is
Me too.
work. Laura, you know, you started out this vulnerability piece because I pressed you. Yes? Yeah. And thanks, yeah. And I knew because I had a conversation with you Friday that it would be safe to do that. Right? So let's talk about business for a minute. I don't know if I'll be able to work if we stay on this subject.
Yeah.
Can I share something real fast?
Sure.
I don't know, I'm feeling like, and maybe it'll speak to somebody that's listening. You mentioned the vulnerability and how society kind of puts that down, it shames it almost, but in vulnerability is where we find true connection, which is what we all crave. And as a child growing up with a parent, she was in 3 different hospitals. From 5th grade to right before my freshman year. I had to meet with the judge at the 3rd one, which was the state hospital. That's why my mom should not become property of the state. My encouragement is just to know that in the midst of suicide or in the midst of loved ones that are hurting, that it's not a reflection of you. Because I grew up thinking, and this perpetuated into my adult life, that I wondered, like, why wouldn't my mom want to be my mom? And so I didn't think I was lovable. And that was probably one of the biggest lies and limiting beliefs that I had to overcome. And it, like, not good enough was in there, and we all had that, but it was really at the root of it was not believing that I was lovable. And so in the journey, I had to learn how to love myself. And there were different things that happened in my life at the time. I'm like, really, God, like, why does this have to happen right now? But now I know that it wasn't good or bad. It had to be that way in order for me to become who He created me to be and to really step into that.
Yes. I love you, Miss Farrington. Yes. Yes. That's so powerful. It really is. It really, my heart just absolutely resonates with you guys today and the things that you're bringing to the table and what you're saying. Thank you. By the way, what would you like people to know about your business?
Yes.
How do we?
That camera right there. Actually, if you could share a little bit about how you can help them is also encouraging them.
Sure. So, as Frank shared earlier, I'm in real estate, so I work with buyers, sellers, and investors. I love not just helping. My job isn't to sell a home. My job is to give you as much information as I possibly can so you can make the best decision for yourself. And behind that, then, I love teaching people how and being a guide in how to build wealth. What are your short-term, long-term goals? It's not just about the purchase of a home or a investment property. It's really, how does this help you achieve your short-term and long-term goals. And so I really, truly just love connecting with people and helping buyers, sellers, and investors or other realtors to achieving their goals as well. And there's a lot of different things happening in our industry right now, and I love being a resource for that. So please feel free to reach out. And then with coaching, I work with individuals and business owners, and it really truly is about being a guide and helping you have your own breakthroughs to achieve your goals and your dreams.
What's the name of your real estate company?
So
You're hanging your chin on, right?
yeah, so my licenses are with Epic Realty, and I actually just made a move to Epic. They're brand new. I was the first agent in Colorado Springs. The Epic has been answering and actually following through on questions I've been asking for years. Having been in leadership, I used to run a brokerage. I've always asked, like, how do we help agents be more successful and add value so that they can serve their clients at a higher level, and what are we really doing to help them gain the skill set to serve at a high level and to also serve their clients at a higher level and help really add value, put money back in their pockets.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that we do as agents, and there's a lot of money that goes out. And Epic they provide benefits. There's a declining cap, and they actually are helping agents leverage and putting benefits. So like there's healthcare, there's all these different benefits that they're included within the brokerage. And so I really love their mission and helping others.
Awesome. And did you tell people something encouraging?
Just know that no matter what you're going through, you matter and you are loved. And although the storm may feel very hard right now, don't run from it. Buffaloes are the only mammal on the earth that actually will charge a storm and run through the storm, because they know instinctively that they will get through the storm faster if they run towards it and through it versus if you run from it. So if any of us would be glad to help you if you're in a storm, but just know that you matter and it will get better, and you have people around you that care. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Be a buffalo, y'all.
Yeah.
Be a
That's amazing.
So I don't have a business, but I do have, my daughter's kind enough to create a website called healingjudges.com. So there's a lot of resources there. Most of this traveling that I'm doing, like I'm going to England, South Africa, it's on my own dime, because a lot of these places don't have the funds. And I feel a moral, if not ethical, obligation to share what my teachers have shared with me over the years because of the experiences I've been allowed to have. And and you can't keep them bottled up. I do this. I do travel. I do speaking. I've just done a thriving presentation at one of the stores down in Pueblo. So I'm more than happy to come up and speak on issues of secondary trauma, increasing resiliency, and thriving as a human being. So please feel free to reach out through the website. If I was this, you took two of the words out, that you matter and that you're loved. And then you started going with the buffalo analogy, and the one I use is the lighthouse. Is just having great, you have the potential through honest introspection. And I'm gonna have this work I'm starting to do with this organization that they're developing an app called My Q Studio. But through honest introspection, really looking at everything you do, you say, you think, but doing so honestly, your motivations, that you can actually start the process of creating the resilience you need to not be always caught up in the churning waves, but more being able to. I was just in Hawaii for weeks.
I grew up
It's on your mind.
I was in the Polly Coast. My knee's still hurting from hiking back.
Yes.
But yeah, and you just kind of ride the waves more. You're gonna get the waves. There's no doubt, because you have to deal with other people and yourself. But learning to ride those waves more than getting caught up in the churning, we all have that potential. We just need to access it.
Thank you.
I love it.
I love it. Am I supposed to look at that?
Yes, right there.
This one, oh, I was like, how do I get over there? Yeah, so I'm Brianne Price with Nelson May Services. I love asking people, both remote assistants, whether they're new or already established, and end clients, which are business owners, what are you passionate about? And what do you want to dive more into? Remote assistants can have specialties and skills that they can then partner with an end client that doesn't love those things as much, and we can build businesses a lot better. When you're working out of what you're passionate about, you are going to, one, love what you do, and then two, just it'll grow so much better. So I would love to talk to you if you are interested in being an end client or being a remote assistant, or if you own your own business and need some extra help and it's super customizable, we work with you on a plan that can get you the help that you need. And then I would say my encouragement is kind of around what we're doing today of just leaning in to community. My words for the year is lean in and take what comes. And then, like Lisa mentioned, surround yourself with the support and the community that you need. Don't shy away from it. Reach out. There's a lot of people that are walking through this or have walked through it. And if you don't surround yourself with that community, it can be really hard. So reach out.
And thank you both for having
Yes, thank you.
You know?
This was wonderful.
We love having you. What a great
Yes,
show today, Lisa.
yeah.
Yeah, indeed. You know, before we wrap up, we have to spotlight our sponsor. We don't have to, we want to spotlight our sponsor. Right? Krystal, our dear friend Joshua Geary, is passionate about uplifting the Southeast. And when you partner with his company, you will learn how to automate your sales funnel using tools like ChatGPT. Visit Krystal.com to learn more. West Coast Insurance and our dear friend Karen Butcher, she loves helping people save and get the best service ever. She is my insurance agent, which I need now because my car was stolen.
I just found it, so.
Yeah, but it's really messed up. I'm going right after this to go take a look at my car. Yeah, so, yeah.
So also, as a reminder, if you are looking to get more leads for your business, like who doesn't want more leads, right?
Right.
Come on,
Yeah,
let's be real.
absolutely.
Please go to beencouraged.net to become a sponsor and get your business name out there to our growing audience. Our platinum sponsor has seen an aggressive 900% growth in just 7 months. And also like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn to join us on our journey to extend hope and encouragement and help people realize their potential through networking, collaboration, and community involvement. And also, we are going around the world with our Instagram Live. So if you, as you're traveling around the world, please introduce people to us. We've already been in 7 different countries, right? Yeah. So super excited about that. So we'd love that as you're traveling, please do some introductions so we can get our Instagram lives out there too.
Indeed. Yeah, because the message of hope and encouragement resonates with humanity. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, we all want hope and we all need to be encouraged. And that's the mission for us here at the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us on a Monday afternoon. And you're welcome that you got to be introduced to these incredible human beings today, right? Yeah, so I know their messages resonated with you. And now you can walk away on your Monday with a little bit more hope and encouragement as well. We'll be back next Monday on the Be Encouraged Show with Frank
and Lisa.
We love you. Have a great day.